He mentioned playing with both Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, and I want to get your views on Foden in a bit, Haaland in a bit, but we have to start with Harry Kane because you gave Harry Kane his league debut for Spurs. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what did you see that no one else had seen before?
I just saw a boy with a lot of ability, but most of all a mental capacity which is second to none, and the drive to want to improve and want to earn the opportunity to play in the first team. And in my watch, he earned that over a period of a couple of weeks. I just knew there was no way I could leave him out anymore, and I told him he was going to play, and the rest is history, really.
And when you've made that decision, the owner of the club, Daniel Levy, was he cool with it? Did he have a conversation with you about why you playing him?
Yeah, but I think he was driven by, we had Franco Baldini there, who was the sporting director. So I remember telling Harry he was going to play. It was on the Friday before the game against Palace on the Saturday. And he asked me to come and see the chairman with him, Franco Baldini. So I went to see him, we sat down, and Daniel asked me what the team is tomorrow. So I wasted my time telling him what the back four was and the midfield. And as soon as I get to Harry, he was asking me the question why certain more experienced players are not playing in front of Harry, and I said because he's earned the right to play. And
would have been Soldado, would it have been?
Soldado, we had Adebayor, you know, Jermaine Defoe would have been there, you know. So it was just a case that the boy had earned the right, and I always judge everyone on a level playing field, and if I feel like they're producing in training, then they deserve the opportunity, and Harry certainly did that. So it was a tough conversation, really, because I think Daniel judged genuinely when he looked at me, and he knew me for a lot of years. He trusted my judgment on players, but he was obviously getting told by someone else that this player possibly wasn't good enough for the Premier League. And the Tottenham at the time wanted to bring players not only good enough for the Premier League but for the Champions League also. So it was obviously Franco Baldini getting into his ear, telling him that he wasn't good enough, and they had a bid lined up from Leicester to sell him for £600,000, which I obviously resisted and said there's no way the boy is going to go for that. You know, in my opinion, he would have ate 600 grand's worth of food since he's been 10 years of age at the club, you know, so it was absolute nonsense to let him go. So
Daniel Levy was prepared.
Well, I don't know if he was prepared, but Daniel put it to me, you know, with Franco Baldini sitting there, that that was what was on the table. But like I say, I think Daniel in the end, he had to take the trust from someone, and the trust come from Harry getting in the team the next day and subsequently scoring 3 in 3 games. And I think he realised that either the price tag has got to go up, or maybe this kid might be good enough for Tottenham's first team. And that was the case. Eventually, you know, he got very fortunate again, Harry, that he got the opportunity to rehearse. Pochettino come in the season. He valued the younger players as well. He continued with him. He continued his development, and the boy has turned into the player what he is now.
Well, I mean, hand on heart. I've seen like YouTube footage of Lionel Messi when he was like 14, and you can just tell he's got something special. I know there's quite a few kids at that age that can do that, but to go on is to the next level is something else. But was there honestly, hand on heart, anything you saw of Harry Kane when you decided to pick him for that Premier League debut against Crystal Palace that you thought this kid is going to go to the very top? Because now we're talking about one of the best strikers, best number 9s in world football.
No, anyone would be lying if they said that they saw that. Lionel Messi is different. I mean, but Lionel Messi, if you're going to judge Lionel Messi on world class, I think you're wrong, because him and Ronaldo at their peak were different class, out of this world. But Harry Kane was someone who wanted to improve. He obviously had the ability, always come into that deep position on the half turn. His touch was fantastic. His work rate on the training pitch, left foot, right foot, practicing headers. You know, he practiced his craft. That's what he did, and that's what the fans would expect anyone to do in training. But not all of them do that. But with Harry, I knew, given the opportunity and put him on the stage, he would perform. And his mental capacity was incredible. In his head, he believes that he's still not finished, and there's not ever a ceiling with Harry Kane. Even now, after he's achieved what he's achieved, he's going to go past Shearer's record. We know that if he stays in the Premier League, and we hope he does for English football's sake. The boy's just an incredible. He's a credit to the football club. And he's a great example to the younger boys coming through at that club, if there's any there.
You played with Alan Shearer at Blackburn. Mm-hmm. Do you see similarities between the two? Mentally,
yes, and parts of their game. You know, some parts of Harry's game are better than Alan's, and some part of Alan's game are better than Harry's. But mentally, you know, the way they conducted themselves every single day around the ground, in public, on the training pitch, they're just top-class professional players who want to get the most out of their footballing career because they know it's short-lived.
This summer, Harry Kane will enter the last 12 months of his deal at Spurs. There's talk whether or not he'll go to United, seem to be the front runners, for around about £100 million. I read, I think 2 days ago, that if Spurs are going to listen to offers, they want it all in one instalment. I don't know if that's going to put off potential buyers. What do you think Harry Kane's next move should be?
Well, I wouldn't like to make a decision for him, but
if you were his agent,
it would be, well, his agent is the family, so I think Harry knows what he wants. He's always been like that. He knows himself. He doesn't need anyone to tell him.
But what do you think?
I don't think anybody should. If he asked my advice, I'll be telling him, you need to do what's in your heart. And at the moment, what's in his heart is this football club. You cut him in half, he'll bleed white.
Yeah.
He loves the football club. But he then has to realise if he's going to chase down Alan Shearer's record, which we all believe that he's going to surpass if he stays in the Premier League, Alan will always have something left over him at the moment, which is the Premier League winners' medal. Now, if Harry if he feels like there's an opportunity at another club where he can possibly win, and he's got a more chance of winning than he has at Tottenham Hotspur, you look at it, the way it is recently, it's up in the air at Tottenham. You know, who's going to be the next manager? It's certainly not going to be Antonio Conte for his last year. So he's going to have a serious sit down with Daniel Levy, Joe Lewis perhaps as well, bring him into the conversation and say, you know, what is the next move for this football club? Are you going to invest in players? It's not about the money, because I believe Tottenham spend money. It's about their recruitment. Their recruitment is poor. The recruitment is poor. They bring in a lot of average players who block up pathways for their younger kids. There's no philosophy there at the moment. The philosophy is top four and bust. And that is exactly what it is. And you'd have to say, going to Antonio Conte, he's done the job. What he was brought in to do last season, finishing fourth. This year, still in a good position to be able to do that. I'm not sure he's going to be able to see that out. But Harry's got to make his mind up, and only he can do it. He's got to make a decision. Does he feel Tottenham is his best option to win something? And we all want to win. You've played as any level. You go onto a football field because you want to win. He keeps winning the individual accolades, but he needs to. You're a team man, and he certainly is a team man.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein, Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.